Get this started. Oh, boom. Okay, thank you. All right. Well, finally. Sorry about the inconvenience there. We had a little technical difficulty, but this is Tony Abreu here, and we are now live on the Night Hunting podcast. And basically, this is the Night Hunting podcast. It's the basically for night hunters and all about night hunting. So this is the 6th episode. And in this episode, we are going to get started and we're going to talk about today, we're going to talk about the how to get properties. So boom. So we got that up there. Yep. All right. Well, so it's March 7th, 2023. And in the last couple episodes, we talked about different things, about some gear. We talked about, my favorite time of year. And this episode is going to be a pretty heavy episode. It might not be as long as the last episode, but definitely. All right. Well, looks like we're back. Welcome to the wonderful world of technology. So my computer just crashed, and with that being said, we're just going to jump right back into it. So back to what we were talking about a second ago. Let me get off this screen real quick here. So yeah, so we're talking about how to find properties on this episode. So back whenever I started a couple of years ago, the first time I ever got my night vision, I was already working for a guy who had like a 65-acre lease on the edge of town, and it was pretty well loaded with hogs, deer, and everything else. So, had access to that property, was able to go out anytime I really wanted to. I'm on that property now as well, go out there and shoot pigs. You know, that's pretty much all I do there. But after I got the first night vision, the first thing that I did, I went to a U-Pick strawberry farm that's probably about 5 or 6 miles from where the other property that I had was. And they had a bunch of kid stuff there, and I took my boys there with my wife, and we picked strawberries. And I started talking to the son of the farmer about pigs because I had night vision and I was just looking for stuff to do. And I was talking to him about a pig problem, and he's like, "Oh, you should go talk to my dad." So after we got done picking strawberries and stuff, I went up there to pay for him, and I met his dad and started talking to him. And he's like, "Man, I don't even really have a hog problem. I got a deer problem." So I got his number, and then after that, I I called him back the next week, and then I started going out there and shooting deer on tags. And that was just a monumental relationship that I created with that guy. Didn't really know him from Adam, but just started going there and hanging out with him. And I knew that he like to drink a certain type of beer, and I would bring them beer and, just go talk to them and hang out. And I'd go buy produce from them. And so part of this episode, I want to talk about a couple of key things that has really allowed me to pick up some properties. And I also want to share a framework that's going to help, or basically that I go by that helps to pick up properties. So it's a pretty easy framework. I mean, I don't really have anything to write on or anything or a presentation set up, but the basic elements of the framework is family, friends, let's see here, farmers, and then Facebook. And that's basically, in a nutshell, what I did to start getting stuff. Now, one disclaimer that I want to say here in the beginning. If you think that you can just go up to somebody and hunt their stuff, I mean, basically the way that I approach all of these spots that I hunt or whatever, or all the things that I do, I approach them with like at a value standpoint. So what I mean by that is I don't just go up to everybody I know and ask them to hunt. Like, if I know somebody has property that needs hunting, or if somebody like has something that I want to hunt and I want to try to get on there, I always try to lead with value. So like I was saying back on the farmer thing, the first thing I did was I didn't just go up to him and ask him. Like, I bought almost $40 worth of strawberries. Like, that might not seem like a huge thing, but it's still value. Like, you want to like do things with I guess not necessarily expecting anything in return, but at the same time, like, you want to like provide value, So like I said, with him, I would always swing by whenever I could. I would bring him, beer whenever I could. Like, he was a cool dude. And the point that I'm trying to make here is that all the places that I have access to hunt, it's more about creating relationships with these people than it is just to go hunt their land. Like, it's not just acquaintance. It's like I'm building friendships, like that farmer, we're friends. We do stuff, So, and like even the family that I hunt for, like I'm doing them a service by going and doing stuff there. Like, let's talk about before I got on with him, I had a little bit of a resume. I was able to go to my wife's uncle's piece. He basically has, I don't know how many acres, but they have hundreds of acres. They farm it, they have cows. And at that time, they were doing 100 acres of watermelons. And at that particular time, it was butted up against the woods. And in the process of that, they had tons and tons of deer coming out. So I was able to go there and shoot deer in the fields. And, I basically, would trade out the tags and, kept the deer meat. And, that was a great way for me to trade out a service, because obviously he don't want to be out there all night shooting deer. And, I'm out there helping protect his crops. And in return, I got a little deer meat from it. I would always, whenever I do deer depredation, offer the farmer meat, and I'll clean it. Like, I don't just give them a deer, like I'll clean it. Like, I'm set up to actually clean deer on my trailer whenever I'm doing stuff like that, because I've done it so much that I like try to make it quicker and faster and easier. But also I always offer them meat, because guess what? They don't want to be out there doing that. And in the process of them allowing you to do it, why not offer some meat? That's another way to bring value. So the thing is don't expect to just go and do stuff without anything in return, always try to provide value. So family. I just talked about my wife's uncle that had property. Um, before we moved into a house in town, we lived on 65 acres, which again, my wife's uncle had cows on that, but also there was coyotes there. Again, family. And I would mess around with the coyotes there, just another place to hunt. My father-in-law is on a huge dog hunting lease. We've been out there to call coyotes before, just messing around. Family, again, family. I'm sure, I'm not sure, but generally somebody in most people's family has stuff like this, and maybe they don't, and that's fine. But if they do, you definitely want to, see if you can do them a favor somewhere, get on the property. Okay, that's the family part. Friends. So my wife's uncle, I guess, has a cousin who lives across the street from him, and together with all their property, it's over 1,000 acres. He has a couple hundred acres. They have a couple hundred. Their other family has, a couple hundred. They're all related. And before, when I started night hunting, I didn't even know that guy. But talking to my wife's uncle, he's like, oh yeah, you should go talk to him. He does this all the time. And I'm like, okay, that would be cool. And it took me like a couple months to meet him. But once I did meet him, like, me and him are best buds now. I hunt with him at least once every 2 weeks, if not once a week. And again, I provide a lot of value for him. Like, I'm all the time, he reloads. So I buy stuff for that all the time, just because, and I split it with him. Like I don't even split it with him money wise, but like I buy brass, and here, load us up some. I'm always trying to give to the cause. Anytime, and that person right there, he already had a night vision scope. Now he's running thermal. He bought, a thermal from, the like, since we've been going, had a thermal, bought another thermal. And the thing is that he doesn't just have the property that he lives on. He has access to another friend who's a farmer. He has access to 2 or 3 pieces there. He's got another piece over here. I mean, he's got hundreds of acres spread out all over the place, so that, we hunt the stuff that I have sometimes. And then when we hunt some of his stuff sometimes, and then we hunt around the house sometimes. Like, he just proved to be a huge asset, and a great, again, relationships, a great friend. Got another friend who, his family owns lots of properties, and then he has friends who have properties, and we've been there to one of his friends' places there and shot pigs before, and called coyotes multiple times. Lots of deer around there. Don't really have tags there, but you know what? Tags are a bonus, in my opinion. Always putting the word out there too. Hey, I'm looking for tags. I'm trying to get through all my friends to try to find tags, because tags to me are a bonus. So, and again, I'm providing value. I'm not just, trying to go and hunt their land without, like, I go with that friend, I go and hunt their property, and I bring like thermals, I bring stuff, like I let them shoot and do the calling. Like, I don't even really care about, killing everything. It's more about the experience to me and building the relationships for me, which has proven to be a huge success in finding properties, by the way. So it's not about me, really. It's about, the whole experience and what I can do for them. So again, farmers. Right now I'm starting to target more farmers, starting to actually put forth effort to farmers. It's watermelon season. I'm starting to talk to more, try to put the word out. And you know what? Sometimes it's exhausting, because yeah, you get a lot of no's, and that's fine. Just like in life, you get a lot of no's, but you know what? you just take a no and keep on going, because one no is like one step closer to a yes somewhere. So, farmers, that's the big deal. And then Facebook. Um, Generally for me, I don't put a lot of stuff on Facebook, but I do have a small group that I am involved with on there, and I put some stuff on there. And then every now and then I will put up, a post about coyotes, because I'm always looking for more places to coyote hunt. And generally, when I put a post up on about coyotes, I put, hey, here's 3 more that we took down today. There's still tons of them out there. If you need help with coyotes, boom, email me, uh, send me a message, whatever. Like, I'm using Facebook as a tool. And like I said, I don't do every single one, but at the same time, again, trying to provide value. So I just think that, you know, getting properties is something in the night hunting space that you should never stop doing. In my opinion, I mean, so there's a couple of things that I want to talk about here. This is kind of funny, but I would say that you could never have enough property, but at the same time, you could have too much property and not be able to even hunt it all, or be greedy with it. And to me, I mean, there's so many coyotes and there's so much to do that you could never really, even if you were going out every single night, you could never hunt it all. I try to live my life in an abundance mindset, but at the same time, like, you still don't have enough property, like, until you maybe could, hit one spot a week for every couple months, like, you don't have enough property. And the funny thing is that different properties are gonna, the dogs act different. You don't know if somebody's calling on a property next door and got the dogs all riled up and got them call shy. And that's fine. It happens. It's not a big deal. To me, I don't let that bother me. I'm just always going out and trying to find new stuff to hunt. And that's just how it is. And, there's an old school mentality out there that, and I say this because I've had it said to me a couple of times about, the code and all this stuff. Well, I don't really operate by a code. Like, okay, if you're hunting a property, that's great. But if you're hunting it every couple months and, coyotes are damaging a farmer's cows because you're doing it every couple months instead of like doing it on the regular, then yeah, the farmer wants to protect his cows. He does not really care about your numbers that you can put up, So for me, I don't really live by that code. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have any incentive to live by that code. My whole proposition here is to provide value to farmers, friends, family, and do it any way I can. But also, it gives me the opportunity to go out, enjoy the whole night hunting, scene, and get better at what I do. So, I don't know what to say to that, except for that doesn't really, that's not my code. At the same time, if anybody wants to talk to me about a code, or you want to comment about a code here, that's fine. Let's talk about it. But at the same time, like, if you would just expect somebody to live by your code and you don't give them any incentive to, then what are we really talking about here? Because, like I said, we live in an abundant world and there's plenty of coyotes everywhere. So, and I'm going to keep looking for property. I'm not going to stop. That's just how I operate. I know that I got to have property. I know I'm going to keep looking for property, and I know I'm going to keep providing value to the people that I hunt on their land. So that's just how I look at it. And yeah, it's, it's just funny to me how some people try to approach you and change your mindset on stuff like that. And, I'm willing to listen, but at the same time, I just operate how I operate. So, um, and that's it. I'm not as good as some of the people that are maybe operating under that code, and that's fine. But, my whole goal, like I said, is to be able to go out, enjoy the outdoors at night, be able to enjoy the scene, the whole, experience, and get better while I do it. I enjoy calling. I enjoy calling for other people. I enjoy, trying to help keep the population down and, just helping protect people's property, livestock, whatever. So that's pretty much the property thing. I mean, if you have one property and you're hunting it every single week, it's probably going to be hard to do it. It's probably going to be, hard to not educate the dogs that are on that property if you're coyote hunting. Now, pigs, that's a different story. The pig property that I'm on, 65 acres, it butts up to hundreds of thousands of acres. Like, I would say probably over 100,000 acres. And the pigs just aren't on that 65 all the time. Like, they run wherever they can to find food, and they're there sometimes and then they're not. And, the thing is, there's cameras on there. I get let known when they're coming back frequently, and then I go out there to try to slow them down. And that's the fun part to me of what this is all about. So, spreading it out between pigs, coyotes, and then using the deer bonus, that's definitely keeps me busy year round. Some people don't like to hunt during the summertime. I feel like we kill a lot of dogs in the summertime. So it just really depends. Sometimes when it's, I live in Florida, I'm a Florida boy, but sometimes when it's, in the 20s here, I just have a hard time getting motivated to go out there and sit and freeze. Because I can do it and I've done it, but sometimes, I work outside already. So sometimes it's hard to be motivated to do that. But at the same time, I've had some good luck doing that as well, because it seems like everything wants to move when it's super cold. So, but yeah, that's the property thing. So let's talk about, you probably don't have enough property, or even if you do, keep looking for property. Just keep trying to get property. There's so much property. There really is. And for me, another thing that I do is, if somebody has a property and they got a problem, I'll be like, hey, you want to go out? I'll take you out. I got extra stuff. Let's go. Just to introduce them to the night hunting thing, but also to, again, the first time I looked through a thermal, I was totally amazed. And I know that whenever I show somebody a thermal for the first time, they're just totally amazed. But it gives you an opportunity, again, to go somewhere else, somewhere new, and going new places is fun, to hunt. So, this episode, or all these episodes, this podcast basically is sponsored by my store, which I sell night vision and thermal optics. The night vision right now, I used to sell the sight marks, and those are, I'm not saying they're hard to get, but my distributor has just not really been that good on them, and they're a decent budget scope, but I'm pretty much going to stop carrying those. So I'm really waiting for, there's another brand, which is ATN. They have had some issues with the 4 series that they have, and I just really don't sell those, because I have a problem selling things that don't work sometimes, or that have issues. Actually, a buddy of mine has one of those, and we're going to see if we can do an update on that and see if we can fix the problem that's happening. But his is freezing up all the time, and it's just annoying. Um, but they do have a new line coming out, which is a 5 series, and we're going to check that out when they do and see if it's a good thing. If it is, I'm down to sell it. The sight marks, like I said, they are, just entry level stuff, but none of them have, none of them now, even the entry or even the higher 4K models that they have, the night vision stuff, they don't have Wi-Fi. I really like Wi-Fi when I'm hunting. I use it a lot. I use it for just, when people are with me, to show them on a tablet, show them what's going on, because it's boring to sit there in the dark and not see anything. So I'm waiting on the AGM has 2 new scopes coming out, night vision, the Neath and the Horse. And then I'm also waiting on the Bearing Optics Hawkster Charge to come out. Really excited about that one. So that's going to be pretty much my night vision lineup here in the future. And I'm really excited about that Hawkster being in such a compact package and having the sensitive sensor that it does. So, but basically carry those. We carry and sell the Bearing line. So any of the Hogsters, the Yoders, those are really quality scopes, got a really good sensor in them, really clear and crisp stuff. And then AGM, they're knocking it out of the park with their prices. Their prices are way lower than everybody else's. There's basically 3 models there. They got the Rattler, they got the new Adder, which I'm running right now. That scope is absolutely crystal clear. It's got an awesome battery life. And for the price, you just cannot beat it, starting at $2,500. And then going into the Varmint, which is a full-on again, great picture, compact scope with a rangefinder in it for under $3,000. You just can't beat their prices and what they're offering right now. So I'm really heavy into those 2 brands. I can get Pulsar. It's just a little harder for me to get. I don't have a basic storefront yet, but I'm working on building that. Not building that, but I'm working on building up to that. I would love to carry more of their stuff. Pulsar, just, very, very good stuff. It's a little more pricey, but they're trying to stay in the same range as these other guys too, with some lower stuff. But they also, if you want to get into the higher tier stuff without getting into the highest tier, they have really, really quality stuff. And then also, tripods, we got tripods on there. Don't really have the bogs on the website. There's not a lot of money in those as far as that goes. I mean, if you're going to buy a bog, just buy it off of Amazon. I've thought about getting some, and I may get a couple of those. It just depends. But I use the bog. I love the bog pod, the bog death grip. And, I'm carrying the Kopjager with they got the Reaper grip on the slick tripod. That's on there as well. Just basically serving night hunters, with that store, Perceptive Outdoor Gear, which is perceptivegear.com. And, that's the basic reason for this podcast. We're trying to blow up the night hunting game. So that's going to conclude this podcast. If you're looking for a scope or anything, be sure to visit perceptivegear.com, or you can actually, if you're looking for anything in particular, or you even want to just check availability, you can always email me at tony@perceptiveoutdoors.com. That's tony@perceptiveoutdoors.com. Also, my phone number is clearly on the top of my website there at perceptivegear.com. You can call anytime. We also sell a lot of batteries for all these scopes, because a lot of them don't run really well in cold. And we got an external battery pack that everybody loves. So Yeah. And if you have any questions, feel free to drop a comment in the chat or in the comments below. And I guess we'll see you next week. Now, next week I'll be in Tennessee, but I'm definitely going to try to get this thing going. It might sound a little different or whatever, but I'm going to record it remotely. And episode number 7, going to be talking about transportation and how to get around, or how I get around at night, and some different ways that people are getting around at night, and stuff like that. So thanks for watching. If you like it, drop a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and get a subscribe in there, and we'll see you next week. Later.